everybody, if you're new to my channel, I'm ChandlerKnowsBest. If you've already been here before, you probably know that's not true. Just kidding, I know enough to make this lengthy video. Today, I'll be talking about ways we can work on growing and improving ourselves, especially during this time. Because we're on lockdown, it can be super hard to find that extra spark. That spark that gives you the drive to do better, learn, and grow. And that spark could be what led you to this video. I've had tons of people ask me, how do I keep myself moving? What am I doing to keep myself actively hitting my goals? Well, the truth is, I have multiple things that I like to keep in mind that help me stay motivated. These things keep me self-aware and they allow me to continue to make progress. These two things are very important when it comes to growing and bettering yourself. The ways I'll be discussing today aren't necessarily a formula for how to better yourself or how to become successful, but instead they might put you on the right track so that you can better yourself in a more efficient manner. Because at the end of the day, we only want to be doing things that are effective and actually helpful for us. Because in my world, we skip the bullshit, we get straight to the point, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can do the same. So let's get started. Number one is to avoid having expectations and try setting more realistic goals. People go into a situation expecting things to work a certain way rather than trying to incrementally build their way there, which is what goals are for. I like the idea of setting small, little tiny goals to achieve something bigger. For example, it is one of my biggest dreams to own a business someday. But that can't happen overnight. So instead, I'm gonna set smaller goals that can help me achieve that through time. So instead of overwhelming myself with these expectations that I need to have a fully functional business by next year, I need to have clients, I need to hire, make money, instead I'm just gonna say, namaste. There's incremental steps that I can take to form a business that don't necessarily involve stressing myself out. For example, first we could come up with a business name, then maybe if you have the money for it at the time, you could purchase a few domain names so nobody buys your website. Then maybe you could start developing a personal site, maybe reach out to a developer who can do that for you, maybe you should start networking. You know, there's just so many little things that you can do that can help you develop your business or reach that goal you have set for yourself. Not that it's easy to start a business, but that is just an example on how you can do little things that can help work your way there. So, in short, if you have a goal or a dream, sit down and think of the small things you could be doing each day to help you get there. There are easy and affordable ways we can achieve something bigger, and it doesn't have to be in the way everybody else follows. And this leads me to my next point. Recognize the path you want to take. In my previous example, I talked about how I would approach building a business in small increments, but that is how I would approach it. Steve Jobs, on the other hand, probably approached building a business in a much different way. And that is my exact point. Everybody's path is different. And now is the perfect time to figure out what yours should be. And you may be wondering, how can I do that? Well, I like to use this 3-step pattern to help me figure out what my path is. Identify, problem solve, and execute. Identify the things that you feel like you need to work on. And this could be financial issues, maybe a skill in something, or maybe there's something that's more within that you want to work on. Identify what those things are, and that can actually help clear the table a little bit and give you an idea of where to start. So remember, identifying what you need to fix is the perfect first step. Next is problem solve. Think about the potential ways this area in your life can be improved. For example, let's say your goal is to lose weight. Think of the ways that you can lose weight and what works best for you. Maybe you should start doing quick workout videos on YouTube every day to start you off. Maybe you decide to cut 500 calories from your daily intake. Maybe you should skip breakfast. I don't know, there's a variety of things you can do to really help kickstart that process of bettering yourself. And that's what's really cool about these mini goals, is that they not only make you better, help you achieve your goals, but you feel so accomplished, especially when you're able to say, I did it. And believe me, not many people are able to say that. And then of course, that leaves us with our last step, which is to execute. Take a good look at the ways you could solve your problem. Maybe you have several solutions, or maybe you could only think of one, and that is okay. You learned what the problem was, you thought of potential solutions. Now's the time to get your ass up and actually execute those solutions, so that you can finally build yourself up to that finish line that you've been looking for. My next tip is to find the right fuel and use it. And by fuel, I mean that random feeling you get when you're just ready to conquer and squash every goal that's popped in your head, or maybe I'm the only one that gets like that. I mean that drive that you need to be able to crush those mini goals we discussed earlier. And interestingly, people are driven by various things. And one thing I notice is a lot of people are driven by the wrong thing. We have people, society, likes on social media, attention. Some people are driven by seeing other people succeed, which is honestly 100% human nature. But unfortunately, there's good and bad in that. It's good to be inspired to better yourself, but you shouldn't necessarily base it off of things that are external, and here's why. You cannot control external things. I'm gonna say that again, in case you didn't hear it. You cannot control external things. You can't control external things. You can't control external things. Okay, point was made. My YouTube channels are actually a prime example of that. I made Chandler Knows Best my main YouTube channel when I was in middle school, and I think I gained over like 10,000 subscribers in 1 year at one point in time. But then we have Coding with Chandler, my coding YouTube channel that I'd have for 2.5 years, and I only have 4,000 subscribers, which I'm completely okay with, by the way. But that's just an example of how things aren't always gonna work the same. I'm living proof of that, because at the end of the day, I can't control who chooses to press subscribe, which is why I'm not driven by that. I'm actually driven by one of these really important words that I'm gonna put in bold letters at the bottom of the screen, and that is called progress. Over the years, I've been able to see my skills grow through public speaking, coding projects, things that I never was able to see myself doing on my own. But those are things that drive me, seeing myself do something that I once feared. And one thing that I learned the past couple years is that letting progress be your drive will almost make you fail-proof. Almost. Now, letting external things be your fuel is literally setting yourself up for failure. You shouldn't be driven by what you can't control. You can only control yourself. So, let progress drive you and you'll be on the path to success. My next huge tip is to focus on yourself and no one else. Or in other words, stop comparing yourself to people. Stop comparing yourself to people. You guys have probably heard me say this in past videos, mostly because a lot of people don't realize that these hurt feelings that we get when we feel like we're not good enough, or those insecurities we feel when we're not growing fast enough, arise from comparing yourself to other people. And while I understand that it's natural, fucking stop. Doing this creates what we call imposter syndrome, and I'll actually be making a video on that in the future. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's basically just that voice that you hear in the back of your head whenever you try something new, telling you that you're not good enough because you compared yourself to someone else who already has a different skill set, or maybe everybody in the classroom is already, you feel like they're ahead of you. You know, things like that, those insecure thoughts that keep you from achieving something because you feel like you aren't good enough. That is what imposter syndrome is. And again, it's human nature. We do this because a lot of us have this mental image of what good is. So where did you get this idea of a good life? Well, you probably got this image from someone you saw. Like maybe Steve Jobs, DiCaprio, Dave Chappelle, fucking Kylie Jenner, I don't know. Or maybe somebody you saw off of Instagram, LinkedIn, or Netflix. There's all these people that have inspired me at some point in time, and they're all in my face every day, really. But I, as Chandler Keys, knows damn well that my path is not going to be the same as Dave Chappelle, no matter how funny I think I am. Which is why you won't catch me comparing myself to him. But I do know what I want on the other hand, and I know what my options are for me to get there, even if it means I need to work full-time and network for the next few years. That's absolutely fine with me. And that is why we need to have this thing called acceptance, and accept whatever it is that we have now. And try to incrementally build ourselves up from there instead of expecting it to work the way we saw from someone else. Lastly, step out of your damn comfort zone. You will not grow or learn anything new if you are continuously doing things that you are comfortable with. You think Mark Zuckerberg just comfortably built Facebook in his dorm? I don't think so. Like, growing takes more than just a few simple tasks. It takes being uncomfortable. So if your goal is to get farther than where you are now and you're comfortable while doing so, you're probably doing something wrong. People have uncomfortable experiences which help them become better and stronger. For example, I feared public speaking, so I decided to do a couple of talks last year. Then I decided to start teaching classes instead of TAing them. That shit makes me pretty uncomfortable. And I know I improved because I am now able to say that I'm comfortable teaching. So if you see an opportunity to push yourself a little further than what you originally intended, it wouldn't hurt to just go for it. While I still struggle in some areas and I need to improve, I can truly say that I grew a lot compared to what I was 6 months ago. And that is because I put myself in so many uncomfortable positions. And you can say the same thing once you start doing things that are outside of your comfort zone, depending on what your goals are. And that's all, folks. That's my secret. Now, after watching this, I expect you all to have Fortune 500 companies by next year. JK, I won't even be there yet. So, in short, if you are doing small incremental things each day or each week to achieve your goal, just know that you are on the right track. Just keep the previous point I made in mind. Let progress drive you, and you'll be on the path to success. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to add me on my social media. My Instagram is chandler.keys. I just got back on social media. You can also find me on Twitter as well. I don't really upload to there, but I like staying up to date on Twitter, so feel free to follow me on there as well. I'll be uploading a lot of things related to coding, filming, how I make my videos, what I do on my own time, and lots of motivational posts, so I hope you guys like it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.